Okay, the meeting is now in progress. We have a recording of the meeting.
Already good. So we've had approval of the minutes. Randy made the motion and Steve Linville seconded and everyone approved. Thank you. Do you have any audience comments in the wings, Ed?
We received no emails and it was posted on the agenda. The agenda was posted on the webpage on the project.
Okay, good. Okay, next, the PACD February monthly report. The only thing that Ed and I discussed was the PACD Southeast Region meeting, March 24th, 9:30 to 11:30. If anybody would like to join in, it can be either in person or virtual. And Ed and I often go to them, but I don't know if you.
The virtual option is also available, so we'll let everybody know if that's available.
Right.
It's going to be at the 4-H Center in Collegeville.
All right, I noticed that young motion.
It used to be really good when it was at the Family Heritage or
Oh,
it was
right.
a buffet. So.
Yeah. Everybody's stuffing their pockets, right? Alright, any other high points in the PACD monthly report? I didn't really see any.
No, just many of the administrative tasks.
Yeah, right, that's what it seems like. Already? Now I will request a motion to file all bank statements for audit.
So moved.
All right, thank you.
Second.
You said the second, was that Ray?
That's right, yes.
Okay, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Emergency review, motion to approve for deposit the following emergency review fees. Sanitary sewer in Upland and Lehigh, where's Lehigh Circle? Lehigh Circle, Aqua Main.
It's in Ridley area.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Sorry, I did put the down.
that's right. I just didn't know where it was.
It's multiple municipalities.
Oh, I see, I got it, all right. Alrighty, so a motion to approve this one? Okay, thanks.
Second.
Okay, and Randy. Alrighty, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, checks to be signed. This is the fun part. Alrighty. Newtown Township gets money for their low volume road project, the 18th. Smedley Park.
The new town is a project that was approved, second town. They have started construction, and in fact, they're almost, it should be done this week.
Excellent. We should all go out and see it. Okay. And the Dcba stream cleanup sponsorship,
Yeah, those are both for,
both the usuals, right?
which we increased to $300.
Yes. We thought it was a good use of our money, right?
They do, both of them do an excellent job.
They do. And a lot of people participate, which is such a nice thing. Alrighty, and the Center for Watershed Protection for the MS4 training, 50% advance, so it hasn't happened yet, right? But it's going.
April 11th, we're going to have the training for all the county facilities.
All right, so how many of you are going for?
Well, we have it, we're trying to invite all the county facilities, so we did a save the date. Park police, not one center, prison. We had like 15 or 16 groups on.
Oh, wow,
So we're hoping to get like 30 people there.
that'd be great.
And this is a grant that we got from PACD mini grant through the Growing Greener program of the state Department of Environmental Protection for $2,500.
Excellent.
They matched it with William Penn money, the Senate, so we can increase it from 15 people up to 30 people.
Oh, wow. Nice if you got 30 people there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, hopefully we should do We need to get them there because all the facilities have a change in leadership. And we need to sort of reintroduce the program to everybody that's now in the management position. And so they know what we're expected of them and what they need to do to maintain their stormwater control, and what they should do if they have a problem. So the goal is to get them all there and get them trained on illicit discharges.
Won't that help them?
I hope.
Yeah, well, we can all wish for it anyway. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, wonderful.
The other checks I have are transfers that are down later on.
Okay, all right. Okay, next up is old business, the COVID-19 county procedures starting today. So what are they?
Yeah, the county procedures now are, if you have a mask, I mean, if you have the vaccine, fully vaccinated, which doesn't include the booster, but most of our staff, not all of them have the booster, don't have to wear a mask in the office. It's optional that there was still some, the county was still going to do some remote work, but my position was that we wanted to get everybody back in the office. Even though your staff has been very productive in working remotely, it's not effective. Simple job we have to do for me.
Right.
It's just that I need to see everybody and I can't see them and go. And I think we'll be doing more and more. The first year we did the remote work, they didn't do a lot of routine inspection. Now to be in the office and grabbing clients, taking them, I think it's just better for us all to be in the office. And we're going to maintain the separation of the staff in separate offices, and any staff that feels uncomfortable, we can put masks on. But so that's the goal right now, the plan, and hopefully cut down. We should still use the virtual meeting option because I think that is something that's for a lot of our meetings, because I think it saves us a lot of time and energy.
Right, and we,
The only problem is it's too easy for people to schedule meetings, so they're scheduling meetings just to schedule meetings sometimes, and I think.
yeah,
So it has that drawback,
right.
but I think it's more efficient use of time rather than wasting all my time traveling.
Yeah, and it's nice for the quorum, you know, people don't really have a lot of other reasons.
So
Quorum.
the numbers look good. We're in the moderate hazard now. We've come down the last couple of weeks. So hopefully that will continue. Chester County is in the low range. And even Philadelphia is still jumping them off.
Right, excellent.
Southwest, they're in the center of the state now that has still the higher risk.
Right, and they've been generally non-compliant throughout that. That's okay.
Well, whether that or the Omicron spread faster. Now it's just getting out there.
Now,
When
now
it came back to school, they
are we at herd immunity?
I don't know what that word means. It seems to be good news so
Yeah,
far.
right,
That's all I'm
exactly,
saying.
yeah.
There's the first day that the kids don't have to wear masks in schools.
Right,
And I had a couple of grandkids that are freaked out about it.
yeah, yeah,
They're so indoctrinated in wearing this stinking mask,
yeah, right,
uncomfortable going to school.
right.
Not their mask.
Yeah. Funny, people might see your teeth, you know.
And my one granddaughter's 14,
Uh-huh.
and she had braces for the last 2 years. Nobody's ever seen her.
Oh, no, oh, no.
So it's,
Self-conscious about it.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Have to be very cautious to the tomorrow,
Or she can still wear their mask.
but, yeah, you can still wear.
And school-age children do not want to be different.
Our neighborhood was replete with people with, let us see them smile, my kid, my choice, mullen signs.
Sure.
And yet, there were also as many who didn't have any such things, so it's the usual divide.
Finger pointing going on.
Yeah, right. I just stay out of it. I don't have any anymore. What do I think? Okay, so this is our new procedure.
Right.
So,
And I did reserve our meeting room now in March. Their dates are available. But I didn't do that at the beginning of the year because we weren't meeting, didn't know what was going to
right.
happen. So hopefully it'll work out.
Well, on this, hanging out in Karen's office. There's a nice toasty little heater underneath the desk. It's great. Okay, so next up is the Smedley Park Low Volume Road Project, which sounds exciting to me.
Please go ahead and move up there.
Yeah, so this is for that low volume road project to fix up the water quality basin at the end of Paper Mill Road. We've had a couple of back and forth emails and calls with the Public Works Department trying to figure out next steps about having the project advertised. We met yesterday with the county engineer to clarify some things and our goals for the project and this overall scope of work. And
Not the county engineer, but all things that was asked to consider promote.
okay. So we checked with them yesterday and we're expecting to hear from them about next steps this week. And they said they would put together a big packet for the project. So it's moving forward. We're glad that we had that discussion with the engineer to figure out what's next.
What does Stantec submit for? In order to go to, since it's going to be $49,000, they got to go through a bid process. So Public Works, I guess they weren't comfortable just using the bid contract document that we had, and they wanted to have an engineer draw a bid.
Stantec was asked to do a rough proposal that's the basis for an RFP for more to submit.
Yeah, they presented a proposal that actually probably more than I thought was necessary, but we'll see what comes out once I get to meet with the Public Works. You don't need to have fully designed plans to be able to do it. See what they come back with. It was good because Stantec did the original. Even though the people that were there are no longer there that did it, they have some of the paperwork. Got it. Basically, it's not changing anything other than the engineering would be the same. We had a structure that had a 4-inch 80-inch drain pipe that come out to drain the thing, and that is lost. It got buried with the flooding and sediment deposits. They also think there was some people there that were doing, even at the mud bog and it ran over everything and ran it over. They can't find it.
Yeah.
So we're going to first define that. We didn't think that worked that well, and it also has a because it's so in the floodplain, it also had a backflow preventer. Well, the backflow preventer is buried and you can't maintain it. So hopefully we're going to get a flapper valve on the end of the pipe. Or maybe put a concrete riser box that would have a 4-inch hole, increase the size of the pipe so it actually perform as an overflow to drain it out more quickly. And that's the goal, just to try to fix it. So it would have the same elevation as the spillway. The spillway currently is a trench drain that goes across the Republic of Asia. And so hopefully we're just going to have two emergency outlets, the ones that can up the riser and the other. I think it would be better for the flooding conditions that we have there, and also it would be easier for the Parks Department to find and maintain, because it's pick up out of the ground as opposed to, and then nobody can run over it.
Unless there's,
Yeah, and then the grades have to be established, have them do a little survey of the original grade, determine how much sediment has to be, and then if it could all be done, which I don't think is going to, we have one in the PhD grant about the planning project, and birthday was what I told them. But don't know, not going to be. So we got, might as well work on that.
hopefully the project's moving along.
Yes.
Ever,
Oh, yeah, it's something we
Step
had
by
on
step.
our MS4 program
Right.
for some time now to try to fix this drainage area. We have a couple other problems, but one other problem in the parks, Anody's working on it right now as part of the Road Street park permit. There's a swale, a concrete swale that has undermined, and the end of it grew up. So it's been there for so long, it's undermined and then caved in. A big erosion going. And so talking about removing, well, putting the vegetated. So we'll see how that does.
Is that the top of the slope or way down the bottom?
At the bottom behind the amphitheater.
Okay.
It's listed as an alternative.
Maybe we heard Thursday morning, the workers in Benoni and Mark Manfrey, we're probably gonna go over and look.
Okay, yeah, yeah, it's not hard to see. You can see the photographs that the water running down the swale goes into a hole that comes up a little later from our house. It's only a matter of time before.
Is it all the way here? Exactly. Well.
So we are working on these issues as we can, and,
Yeah, right.
and so they're on getting attention, so they're not critical, I mean, damaging to but that is on the public water supply, so. They have control. The drainage area was hard to establish because they came in with a drainage area like 6 acres, 12. And I looked at, we found the old 252 plan for widening. Drainage, it kind of come across the road too. So, so we're having a little problem with that drainage area, figuring out exactly what goes down that swale.
Right, and they have to fit it to the amount of drainage.
They have to design the swale to be able to be stable for the drainage, so it's critical issues they got.
What's the road? What's the?
Yeah, there was a part claims amount has a basement, and it drains, the basin drains. One basin drains here, the village of the Rose Tree, the other basin goes the other way, down to the other storm sewer right out here, so that they actually went to court and made part claims to put it in. This one up here, they tied into.
Thank you. Okay, the training session for illicit discharges for county facilities managers, we didn't talk about that earlier, right?
Well, we talked about it when we signed the check, yeah.
Yeah, got it. Statement of financial interest reminder. Reminds them of it. Did I send you that?
I don't remember. I don't look at them, I just, they're on the honor system, directors, the other responsibilities on them. I just stick it in the file, so we don't even look at it.
I don't have a lot of them.
The only time they would be open is if, get a request from the public, or either, or you request.
Right. I'll start this. I'll try to remember. Just does it last year, it's pretty much the same. Low volume road.
So it is, 716. Phone number on the screen, we have somebody without it dialed in, is that, not Linda, because Linda's two other ones. The phone number of 1-610-716, and I'm gonna give the rest of it over.
Right. Who is that? Not answering.
Well,
What,
Laughing then.
what's, it's a, you said it's a 610 number? Because mine's 484, but did you say 610?
Yeah,
Yeah.
610-716 is the first.
Oh, okay.
That's me, that's Wayne.
Oh, wait.
Oh, hi, Wayne. We didn't even know you were there, skulking about.
I'm here.
All right, there you are. All right. Now you'll get credit for being here too. Otherwise, we would have, we just thought 716 was here.
Thank you.
All right, now we know. Okay, next up, low volume road, financial deadline discussion and suggested actions.
Okay. One of the requirements of the low volume road is that we have to spend $48,000 by the end of April. With the $30,000 that we're going to sign the check for just now, I guess it's closer to that number. I want to be able to ask the board if you would give us permission to have the final payment made to Newtown Township. They're almost done. When they submit the paperwork, we verify the actual amount and to have that amount approved. They have a grant for $60,000.
Yeah, $60,970.
And their grant may come in a little bit lower, so we don't want to write the check now until we get the final bill, but we don't know the exact total. So we need to have that check ready to be positive, distributed, so we qualify. If we do not spend the money, the $48,000, then it doesn't affect our allocation for next year.
Oh, no. We mustn't do that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of tough because we, like I said, we have $80,000 and every year we have to spend that much. 2 years. But now it's gonna be every year because it's how we're into the cycle. So
Yeah, and we've changed our policy to avoid getting this close to our spending requirement. The contracts now are gonna be for 1 year instead of 18 months. And if a grantee needs more time to complete their project, they can submit a request and we can allow it or deny that request based on our spending requirement or whatever other factors. So we've learned, we've
Yes.
lived and learned about the spending requirement. So, yeah, we just need to see what Newtown Township's final completion report comes in at for their final reimbursement request.
So I'll make a motion to have the funds available for the LDR for Newtown Township.
And so authorize Cheryl or other officer to sign the check.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay, I'll second that. All right.
The second thing I'd like to have as a precaution is the county has a program $49,000. You're working on the bid proposal. If that should come in and they authorize the bid before the end of April, that we could send the 50% money. Give us up that number. If we don't need the number,
So
then we
that
don't
would be
need
like
that,
$20,000.
then we won't have to pay them until they ask to get started. But if they have the grant and I feel comfortable that issue the check.
All right. Okay.
So we need a second motion for
I
that.
seconded.
Well, I guess I'm first.
He first.
Oh, that was.
That was the
I was
first
first.
one.
Yeah. So this one's a motion.
This is the
If
first
Second
one.
motion, someone make a motion.
With the second motion.
I'll second it.
necessary.
All right. Thank you.
I know it's a little complicated, but it's came to lose.
Sure would. Sure would. All in favor? Aye. Good, well, this will be wonderful. Let's hope it all works out, yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone. Next is PAG01, new NPDES general permit.
Yeah, Michelle, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit
Oh, there
about
she
what the
is.
permit is?
Hiding behind the screen.
Yeah, so today is the first day that people are eligible to submit a PAG01 application. However, they either have to have a pre-application meeting or we have to waive the requirement for a pre-application meeting. So I guess that can start happening today, and to date, we have not gotten any requests. So I don't know how many projects within the county will be eligible for to apply for coverage under this permit, but we will wait and see.
And just so the board is aware, what the plan is there shouldn't be overwhelming need for this permit because of the restrictions. And the restrictions are mainly geared to farm activities or houses on the big properties that they're not really adding a lot of impervious. So there's a limit of impervious of 30,000 total and 12,000 for new impervious. And if you go over that, 12%, not 12.
12%, yeah.
12% impervious on the lot. That's a restriction. The other restriction is every point of discharge has to have this treatment facility of a vegetative filter and then a level spreader. And the level spreader has to discharge on your property for 500 or 800 feet. It just doesn't happen here. It could happen out in the middle of a farm field someplace, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
That's my
Good take on it.
guess.
Yeah,
But
right.
and you can't use it in high protection for special protecting water.
Mhm.
But if we do, I'm going to have this. Technicians are all going to be up on this, and they're going to handle the entire program from the permit, from the pre-application meeting There's a administrative review and the technical review. Pretty standard technical review. You use for the master this. And the time frame is so tight. They try to give them like 30 days, 30 or 60 days for the permit. That way, it just, if we can, if we got a budget. So that's the goal.
All right. You don't think you'll have a bunch of them?
I can't see how.
No,
Yeah.
right, exactly, I mean, it's not exactly like we have that kind of rooms out
Right, so yeah, I can see there might be a lot of people thinking they can use it, and then causing a lot of pre-application meetings that deny it,
Right,
but that may be the biggest work.
eventually they'll catch on.
Right.
Word will get out. All right, thanks, Ed. All right, now, next up is funds to be transferred to the county revenue account.
Okay, at the last meeting I talked about, it looked like we had great big balance of
Yeah, right, it looks like it's
over $1 million. But we did have money that needed to be transferred over to the county. And these are the checks that I have for that.
Mhm.
We have one here for $16,072. Now, this one we got this check at the beginning of last year. And we did not transfer to the county because of the fact that the state was investigating an overpayment.
Mhm.
And that was in 2020. We haven't heard anything, so I just don't want to hold on to it anymore and transfer it over to the county. We have to find a way to pay this $24,000 that we think is an overpayment. And we'll have to wait till they tell us that and find out a way to pay it. Put it in the right account.
All right,
That's the first one. The second one is that we get the money from the Conservation District Fund Allocation Program in fiscal years, and we work on a calendar year. So the money that comes in for from July until December, we put in a temporary account in our funds and then reimburse it to the county in the new year, so to make sure that the money's properly allocated. So we have a check for the CDFAP of $37,767 that we transferred. Then the last check we have here right now is Treasurer of Delaware County would be for $61,921.60. This is the Act 13, the unconventional gas flow money that we get from the PUC.
yes,
And that money, we budgeted it into our budget now, so we'll hire Ari, so now all this money goes over to the county. And that's what this check is for.
a lot of money then. She'll be happy to hear from us.
And then we have two other checks that would have been deposited in our account, but it doesn't show up on the bank statement yet. One for $15,000 for water fed specialist and another $6,000 for CDFAP. But I'm going to wait till next month until it actually shows up on the bank statement.
Okay, good. So we're taking care of our obligations to the county.
Yes, we have a responsibility to the county to make revenue of $263,000 annual reimbursement.
This closes it up.
This gets us halfway there.
Okay, good. Thanks, Ed. Okay, so next up, we have Beth. Is Beth anywhere? Beth here today?
Didn't see her.
Anybody
No,
around? Okay.
did not hear from her.
Okay, Linda, it's your turn.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So in addition to my report, well, I guess I have this on the report, but I will highlight the basic training coming in May on the 3rd to the 6th, and that will be in person. So it's one of the first trainings that's now back in person. So that's something to look forward to. And any staff that has not been to one of the basic trainings, that at this point, even your quote unquote new staff, you guys have been there for a while. But you still might pick up some good stuff. I'd still encourage, if you can make it, to go if you have time. And then I just wanted to really highlight the leadership development directors training on March 9th. That it's virtual, so it's a really good opportunity to tune in. There's a lot of really timely information being talked about, mostly like staff retention, and that's the one that really comes to mind. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's supposed to be Matt Miller with PACD, who he's actually funded through the State Conservation Commission. He has tons of past experience in putting on workshops, so he has really taken what used to be I think everybody that's been around for a long time can agree, was some substandard training, and he really, really turned it around. He's got great speakers, and the AV, pretty much right on top of, even with all the complications with COVID. So any workshops that the Leadership Development Committee puts on is probably going to be something really well received. So I'm just going to put an encouragement out there. And then I did want to just throw it out there. And I have no idea time-wise, but some positions have been being filled in the post-construction stormwater, specifically the compliance side. A person that used to do the MS4, and Ed, you've spoken of her before. She really worked with the MS4 program in the Southeast Regional Office. She has since, for several months now, she's taken a position that really is heading up the compliance and enforcement end of things in central office, so statewide. And that specific position had been vacant for quite a while. So the compliance and enforcement manual, it's been drafted as long as I can remember, but it's really needed some updating. And that is actually moving forward. Again, I cannot say, it could be a couple years from now, it could be 6 months from now, it could never happen, but it is being worked on. It's really seen as an issue that it's been drafted forever. That's not something that, just because it was never able to be taken on as a full project to update the entire thing. So it stayed draft, so little updates could be inserted, but that's seen as something that is not continue. We don't want to continue that any longer term than it's already been. So I just wanted to say that, and I can't imagine that any of your staff is going out onto farms, or even if you have projects that have any loose poultry. I would just at this point stay off of them, because the high path avian flu is really an issue right now. And so DEP staff is being told, we have no business going into any barns. We don't do that, but even farms that have livestock or any avian, geese, whatever, just stay away from them. We are staying away from them. We're considering it not worth, taking the risk. So I can't imagine. But, again, sometimes some of these sites, people will have loose chickens running around. I would just be real careful about that. And take biosecurity measures. If you have to go onto the site, take biosecurity measures, even if it's just like a home flock, which is all I could consider most district staff, unless you're an ag staff, running into. But just pay attention for even a home flock, and just take extra precaution. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Most districts, it's more of an issue than it will be in Delaware County, but still didn't want to miss that. Other than that, if you have any questions on my report, let me know.
Thanks, Linda. Are there any questions?
You bet.
Well, it was nice to hear from you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And next up, Ed, you're up next.
Thank you. We have, Lynn just mentioned, the person that transferred from regional office to the new compliance specialist for Richard in Harrisburg, Krista Brown. And she had a question and answer session with us on webinar, or a virtual meeting, and it was very refreshing. She was very shooting from the hip and listened and gave some opinions that I'd like to hear. She talked more like the type of regulator that I'd like to hear. Listened and realized some of the things weren't working quite right. And even though it's the current law, didn't defend the position, sort of leaned us in a better direction. Something we can't do anything about right now, but it was just refreshing. I enjoyed it. We have had a group meeting to discuss, we're going to do a landscaper training on stormwater maintenance on your property, and that's going to be on April 1st, and that's going to be with the full county together, and that's going to be over at Creamery. We did have a meeting with Cedarville Engineering, with planning, to go over a kickoff meeting for the 2022 stormwater ordinance required by the MS4 program. And so we just got the basic and going over the ground rules and how we're going to proceed. And it was a very productive meeting to start that off. We have a very tight time window to get that done for municipalities to update their ordinance by August. Requirement of their permit. Karen is working with Parks on a new Christmas tree revetment addition at County Glen Province Park. So I will be working on the permit hopefully tomorrow to get that ready. It's going to be fairly simplified. Karen has done some of the groundwork and a lot of the paperwork. We can use the painting that hasn't expired. It's in the same exact area. So get that permit approved. We also already got an exemption from the Fish and Boat Commission that we can work until the end of March because of trout stocking, but they're okay with us working on this minor. We have to be done by the end of March because that's when the red-bellied turtle, U.S. Fish and Wildlife restrictions come in, so we can't work after March 31st. That's what we're doing, and some of the people have looked at the Christmas tree revetment and want to give it a try. In fact, Karen had a meeting out there with several groups like Upper Darby Township. They want to do one down by these cabin of Darby Creek. What was another one?
Haverford Township is interesting.
So they're looking at our project. And the Parks Department is cooperating with us and actually show a little bit of their efforts. So hopefully we can get the second one. The one that we did have, I think we lost one tree. We got one out one of the storms, but other than that, it's holding up pretty good. It doesn't collect the silt that we'd like to have it collect because of the changes up above with the breaching of the dam. The sediment. It was depositing sediment like crazy for a period of a year and a half, 2 years, and now it doesn't seem to be depositing it anymore. So we might have to import some soil, put on top of the Christmas trees as we put in live stakes. We don't exactly remember to augment the tree.
Great idea.
See, it can work. In the meantime, I know Mark Manfrey has on his CIP to do design work on trying to make the pond, restore the pond somehow. Because it's a lot of work. That's about the 28 erosion control plan review. So we got back up and moving, and you can see we had 8 meetings of these requests for meetings to go over plan reviews and to have pre-application meetings. So I can't imagine if we had to travel to all those meetings.
Yeah, right.
So that's plus and a minus. So plus it saves you time, but at the meeting, but it's too easy and everybody wants one.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're in demand.
Yeah.
So what's happening with the Delcor wastewater treatment tunnel project? It seems like that's what it is.
Yeah, we've had meetings to discuss that. It hasn't been moving forward. I already had a problem where they didn't want to do the infiltration testing. I don't know exactly what the story was, and they were kind of closed-lipped about what they were actually doing. But they had coming up with a deadline. In other words, administrative reviews, you get a technical deficiency letter and you have to address it within 60 days. They were coming up to a deadline that would mean that if they didn't present that stuff, they would have to close the permit and start over again. Well, DEP had been contacted and they wanted to have a meeting to go over. And they're going to give them an extension, two extensions. One's going to be, they're going to do the infiltration testing and they don't know if that's going to change their design. But they're going to get an extension for a time period that has been granted already. Already granted that extension according to the directions of the philosophy. But then if they find out that they need to change the design to accommodate more stormwater control, then they might be a couple months down the line extension. So they're going to give room here.
Totally balloon to work it out, right?
Mhm.
And second and third effort to recruit schools for the Envirothon, what's that about? Nobody wants to jump on the bandwagon here?
We have, Pencrest has already sent in their stuff and they're anxious.
Sure, as always. they're
I'm very
winners.
happy that the market has called me a few times, making sure that we have it outdoors this year.
Right.
Very anxious.
Uh-huh.
But I can't get anybody else to respond other than Interboro. Interboro
Oh, yeah.
is interested again, and they're actually working with Karen on, we got a trunk of environmental education supplies, belts, skulls, and things from the game commission when he retired. Mr. Dan Lynch. And he gave us his trunk, and they want to borrow that, and they also want to know a bit about what was the other macro garden.
Macros and watersheds. So they, yeah, the entire Casey probably.
I can imagine how creepy that trunk would be.
Dead animal
Very
trunk?
tall.
The dead animal trunk works for me. So you're prodding again, trying to get people to jump on board. I just can't understand why people in this day and age don't want to delve into it.
What does it help?
Huh?
April?
April, at the end of April, April 26th is our date. I think the problem was they didn't want to do the virtual thing because they're probably overloaded with the virtual thing last year. And then the teachers get out of the practice, so it's extra work for them. So,
Your product now, maybe there's not enough lead time to sort of prepare it.
well, I even put in there that consider this is like a rebuilding year. Don't worry about being, everybody's going to be behind.
They get Pencrest wins every year, so.
Right.
That's the other problem we have. We've lost some schools because they realized they could.
Yeah, whatever happened to its high school game, you know? It's like it would be a very nice attitude to instill in the people.
Give up their secrets on how to prepare.
Yeah, right.
As the one student said, looking at the scores, Pencrest cheated, they studied. And that's basically what it is. Pencrest works at it and they sample test. The kids actually do an environthon for the middle school to help prepare the middle school. Mark Samolenko is very active in that. But we would have the same problem probably in Pencrest that we do in the other districts. We had a very active team in Upper Darby, and that teacher retired. We had a very active Cardinal O'Hara, and she retired. Kay Lansing retired. But once they retired, the special teacher that goes above and beyond their normal duties, and
Treated as a club, extracurricular.
a lot of them were club. The Aware program in Haverford was a matter of fact, the first year Haverford participated, the students just skipped out of school and came out. So. And then they got the book there from Mitch Turnbicki, who was retired.
Right.
Two new ones. The first year it was unfortunate that the teacher that was the advisor had parents that were ill. He then the pandemic hit, so years in a row. So that's, hopefully they're still there, but we'll reach out again, try out the phone this time, see what's doing, but.
Seems like every organization has trouble with people not being, they're not bringing somebody along. Not, it's not their fault, but there's no one else to pick up the training somewhere. It's every organization.
Yeah, and then once you,
How many years do we still have a mark in the window?
hopefully it'll last longer than they could.
Oh, good, oh, good, oh, good.
But he started, matter of fact, Galen Criswell, who was a technician in Chester County, he was teaching at Pencrest, and he didn't get the job in Marcon, so, and Caitlin for
Oh, geez. So we can't snag her for somebody else.
Yeah.
So those were my questions there. Any other things you'd like to add, Ed?
No, anything else, if anybody has any questions, as always, keep me calm.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, I believe it's Michelle. Isn't it Michelle?
All
Yep.
right, yeah, just wanted to highlight that we all completed and successfully passed our certified stormwater inspector MS4 training at the end of last week. It really went into the different MCMs of the MS4 permit and the background on the MPDS permit for the MS4s. And our instructor was pretty lively, so it made the class go smoothly. But so we will be getting our inspector certificates here shortly. And then yeah, just wanted to highlight, kind of still a little bit slow on the permit front, or at least for my list of permits for the month of February. And if anybody has any questions on any of the projects, just let me know, but that's all I have to highlight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you worked very hard anyway, even though it doesn't show, huh? On this piece of paper. All right, next. Connor is up next.
Yeah, before I say anything, I just saw it said there's 5 minutes left in the meeting, so I think this is gonna shut us out, well, in less than 5 minutes now. So I'll make it quick. Yeah, just highlighting what Michelle said, the CSI MS4 training, that was very informative. The instructor, Jeff Hutton, he was like, he was a fun guy, very laid back, seemed to be a wealth of knowledge, and he's very inclusive, called everybody, and I think I personally walked away with learning a lot. So that was I forgot to put that on my events there at the top, but I was also there. And other than that, just a lot of office work. Wasn't really getting out in the field due to the fact that we weren't really in the office that much. So just catching up on a lot of paperwork. Yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything, let me know.
Excellent. Well, thanks. Glad you kept caught up on your paperwork.
Always.
Okay. I guess, Ari, you're next. Is Ari next?
Yep. So, as Ed mentioned before, we had a meeting with Delcor as well as DEP to kind of just iron out some of those kinks and make sure that we were all on the same page on what was expected for a complete permit application. And then I also attended those the National Stormwater Center MS4 classes, like Michelle and Connor mentioned. Very informative, very helpful for me as a new employee to establish what those 6 MCMs were, why we uphold those, and take part in making sure that the community understands our obligations to the permit, and also getting a little bit of insight of how other states perform their implementations of BMPs and everything like that. So I got a little bit of insight into how Pennsylvania is a little different. And yeah, just a lot of paperwork. I had a last minute permit issued yesterday. And other than that, if there's any questions, please let me know.
On that issue, we are down from 19 pending administrative completeness down to 7 now. So,
Good.
yeah, it did make progress.
Everybody's been working hard, right?
Clear them up and get them onto my desk.
Oh, there you go. Great idea. Thanks, Eric.
No problem.
Okay, now, last but not least, Karen.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about the things that are in my report, but I'll just touch on a few of them and add some details. So for the Christmas tree project, we are extending it downstream. And we'll be working with the Parks Department and Friends of Glen Providence Park to get that project installed. Tomorrow, I'm going out to Barnston Dam in Chester County to collect live stake cuttings to install at Glen Providence Park over the old Christmas tree project. So we're going to be further reinforcing that bank. I think that event will be on March 19th. The Friends of Glen Providence Park and the Master Watershed Stewards. Speaking of the Master Watershed Stewards, basic training started last week. We have a lot of really enthusiastic volunteers participating in that program, and that training will run through June. For the Envirothon, Christine from Interborough has requested demonstration using our Enviroscape and then Aquifer vertebrate samples. So I reached out to the Master Watershed Stewards to see if they would be willing to go with me and help me out. And for the MS4 facility managers training, like Ed mentioned, that will be the morning of April 11th at the Emergency Services Center on Middletown Road. And we're hoping to have a good turnout for that. But that's all that I wanted to highlight and add. If anyone has any questions.
Yeah, you'll see on the Karen's report is other watershed activities requested boat cleaning unit. The Palms, the Pennsylvania Lake Management Association, Gretchen Schatzinger, I think the Secretary Treasurer, and the Fox County. We partnered with them on they purchased a trailer through a grant to do invasive species control on boats. So in other words, this trailer has ways to clean off boats as they go from boat launch, other lakes and stuff. So they have to clean off their boat. So hopefully sometime this summer, we'll be able to get that trailer down here to meet our obligation and man it for a day at what like country marina, customer marina, as people coming out to educate people on invasive carried by boat.
Excellent, good idea. All righty. Well, unless anybody has any questions, I think that just about does it for us. So guess what I'm asking for?
Motion to leave.
Do I hear a second? All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks a lot for coming, everybody.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.